Hello, this is Annette with Project Refine Life. Welcome to my channel and this VR to Nueva Luna Tarot. The tag is 10 Forever cards. Nueva Luna Tarot, you stated that this tag would be easy, and it is far from easy. And in your video, you did cheat. And then when I was looking at Tara's video over at Cozy Core Craft, she stated cheat. She wants to see people cheat. And so I'm just doing what everybody else is doing. So I am not choosing 10. There's going to be more than 10 here because I can't just stick to 10. And I know I'm going to think about this video later and say, oh my gosh, why didn't I include this card out of this deck? But this one's difficult because it's not choosing a tarot deck that represents a feeling or an emotion. No, it is a card out of all the decks, like one card that really is like a forever tarot card. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this one. This is the Wheel of Fortune, and this is from the Circle of Doors Tarot. And I am going to be reading a little bit right out of the guidebooks because the guidebooks are written with intention. They're written to set the mood for this particular deck or whatever deck that you're working with. Now, not all of the guidebooks resonate with me, but some of them really do. So I'm going to read a little bit of the snippets from the guidebook that resonate, and then I'll kind of lead into it. So this is the Wheel of Fortune. And it states here in the guidebook, the Wheel of Fortune is the great mystery of the world's continuous movement. And although there are some predictable cycles by which we find stability, we can never truly know what tomorrow may bring. Feel the subtle ways that your spirit knows when to lead and when to follow as the grand dance of time glides and whirls your life through all its triumphs and tragedies. That reading was so touching for me when I read this. I've stated before that I have lost my son, and there was one card in particular that was so apparent to me out of one deck, and it was the Wheel of Fortune, and the image was the wheel was black and white and the rest of it was color, and it really brought to my memory the time when my son had passed. And I thought, how can everybody keep going when I just feel like I'm dying here? I can't breathe, I can't focus, I can't function, and yet everything keeps spinning around me. And this reading out of this book, and the Wheel of Fortune in particular, is one of those cards that really means so much to me, that no matter what's going on, time is going to keep on ticking. It's going to keep on going. Now, I know that this particular show isn't really family watching. However, we've been watching Desperate Housewives, and this is an older TV series, but we've been watching this, and just last night we were watching it, and there's a point when one of the housewives tells another one, you can't prevent what you can't control. And that is 100% true. You can't live your life regretting the things that you didn't do to prevent what you didn't know was going to happen. All you can do is roll with it and keep going with it and allow it to make you who you are, maybe a better version of you. So this is number one, the Wheel of Fortune, and this is not really in any particular order. I'm just going through the list that I wrote down. So now this is the Magician, and this is from the Superlunaris Tarot. The Superlunaris Tarot is one of my all-time favorite decks. I really love it. But the Magician means so much, and particularly this one, because she doesn't have a table full of tools. No, instead, her power and her skills are from everything around her and everything within her. And it states in the guidebook, power, skills, and then it says, harnessing the power around you and channeling it all towards a goal. And I just love this card. Look at her. She's just like pulling it in, using her hands to move that energy in and channeling it wherever it needs to go from there. I love this. This is so energetic. I just love the healing and everything that she's channeling in and out in this card. Such a powerful and beautiful, beautiful card. This is the Two of Thunder. You guys knew, you had to have known that the Gentle Tarot was going to be involved with this particular card. The Two of Thunder really, really, it just stands out to me. So I'm going to read to you from the guidebook. This is the big guidebook, and I just love this one. But one of the things that it states is that I take the time I need to listen. So this is a card of introspection. And if there's a decision at hand, it's important for you to listen and trust. And although the thunder represents the swords, we don't allow our heart to speak. You know, we don't allow it to take part in those decisions. And in this card, it's kind of asking you to allow that to happen, to allow that energy of the heart to kind of come together and combine and allow you to make those decisions from a different space, not just from the head, but from the heart. So I really, really love the Gentle Tarot, and it was really difficult for me to choose just one out of the Gentle Tarot, but that's my choice from the Gentle Tarot. Now the next is the Forager's Daughter. And this deck, this one came into my collection this year. I love this deck. It is so amazing. I just love it. So this is the Fool. And for me, and I did say to myself I should start it with the Fool this whole video, and I forgot. But this particular Fool is really, really meaningful to me. And this is the impressive, beautiful guidebook that the Forager's Daughter Tarot comes with. This is the Afterlight edition. I just love this deck. As you can see, you have this seed here. And from this seed, when the seed comes into the earth, any amount of water that it receives, any nutrients within the ground is going to spark that mystery, that seeking to grow, to expand. So the seed grows roots, and then from there it springs upward. And once it springs upward, it supports other types of life to take part and to be part of that growth cycle. So as you can see here, the seed didn't know what it was going to be. It just did what felt natural to it, what it felt inspired to do. And here you have this butterfly coming out of its cocoon, and it's just beautiful. I just love this card, and I love the idea that the Fool's energy, you don't have all the answers, but you're willing to go out and take it. You're willing to go out and lead from that space with the curiosity and with the ignition of life and all the things that it has to offer. So I just think this is a beautiful, beautiful card. The next card is from the Goliath Tarot, one of my very, very sacred deck. And I don't talk about it a lot, but seriously, it's one of my favorites. I love this deck, and there's so many cards in here that could have come into place of my forever cards, but I chose this one, and this is the Six of Swords. And on this deck, they do have he has this little wording on it, and it states the brand new journey. Now, regularly in the RWS, it's normal to see somebody on a boat, and they're moving away from the land into calmer waters. In this particular card, that's not the case. They have all this chaos going on. There's all this chaos going on. There's a fire, there's swords. The tides are just crazy. And this bird picks up its nest and goes because this bird knows that her little babies in this nest are not going to be safe in this environment. And even though you have these hurricanes in the future view that this bird is flying into, this bird would rather take the chance to go into that than remain where it was. And I just think that is so extremely powerful, because oftentimes in order to make a change, we're always looking for that guaranteed outcome. And that just does not exist. That is not a thing to have a guaranteed outcome. Sometimes you roll the dice and you don't know what you're going to get, and you go with it and you play the game anyway. And sometimes it's just a matter of taking the lesser of two evils, really. So for that reason, I love this particular card. It is so powerful. It is so moving to me that this bird would take her precious babies in this nest and I'd rather go into this than stay here. Just amazing. Beautiful, beautiful card. The next card is the Strength card from the Tarot of the Drowning World. This is an amazingly beautiful deck. But this card right here, which is the Strength card, always gets to me because of the gentleness, of the loving kindness that she is going back and forth with this lion. This lion is also giving and also receiving this emotional, this loving, this sweetness, as you can see within this card. So I'm going to read right out of the guidebook for just a few. Some people can only feel strength when it meets resistance, overcomes obstacles, overpowers something else, wins a competition, or destroys enemies. But the strength of the drowned world is both force and fortitude, collaborative, internal stabilizing, and enduring. Here, strength ambiguously is arising from partnership and connection. The femme and the lion are not forcing each other to do anything, and together they remain with heads above water. That is so beautiful. Not only do I love the image that was created, this deck is just a work of art in itself. It is a masterpiece, really it is. But that reading and the kindness, the lovingness that's coming between the two is just so heartwarming. We don't get anything from force, and the way that they're interconnecting is just beautiful. Next is the Nine of Wands from one of my favorites, the Tarot Avatara. This is all about Frida Kahlo and Frida Kahlo's life. This deck is beautiful, and some of the decks that I'm sharing with you here today are out of print, so I apologize, but these are my 10 or more forever cards, so I am sharing these with you. This is the Nine of Wands, and in this particular depiction, Frida Kahlo is at the end of her life at this point, and her legs have been amputated. She had another surgery because she endured many, many surgeries within her life, but there was an art exhibition with her art, and she was bound to be in the bed, and the doctor did not want her to attend. So he said, no, you have to remain in your bed. So she insisted on going to this art exhibition. She's in her bed here. So what they did is they took her in her bed to the art exhibition so that she could be part of this beautiful showing of her life's work. And as you can see, her art is surrounding her, and there's fire coming out of the bed. So let me read a little bit from this guidebook, and this is just beautiful. Gabby Angus West did a beautiful job with this particular guidebook, in where she wrote in the aspect as if she was Frida and writing a diary for each one of these cards, and it's really pretty. But I'm going to read this one portion to you because the Nine of Wands is usually depicted as this person who's been in battle. He's bandaged, but he's still there. He is not defeated. So let me read this to you. These people look to my broken body. They feel fear, not for me, but for themselves. And they see my strength at the center of all of this throng, the party in full swing. I can find some peace from a feeling that much of the work is done, but I am not. There is warm breath in my body, heated by the fire in my soul. I remain strong. Oh my God. Again, this card it's just amazing. There's so many amazing cards in this particular deck, but this one where other people would say, that's it. I'm defeated. I don't have any legs. I can't even control myself. I can barely move any part of my other body parts that are left. But no, she was like, I'm gonna see this exhibit. I'm gonna tell a few jokes. I'm gonna get in some laughs, and I have not been defeated. I still have passion. I still have fire. Still have desire. So this is such a beautiful depiction of the Nine of Wands. I really love this. This is the Justice card out of the Jaus Tarot. And this is such a beautiful exhibition of justice, and not one that we ordinarily see, which I really love about this particular Justice card. So here, right out of the guidebook, it states universal balance, weigh and cut. The letter of justice means equality and justice. Restore peace, harmony, and calm. Make peace, reach agreements, and establish calm. Both in the Marseille Tarot and in many pictorial or artistic representations, she is described as a female figure with blindfolded eyes, carrying a sword and scales. The symbol of the scale is the most used since the scale represents equality. She goes on to say that the covering of the eyes means that she's being objective, while the sword signifies strength and compliance with the decisions being made. So in her card, she's stating that the elements are described to weigh and cut. And if you look way up here, her hand, there's another hand up here, which kind of indicates that she's holding up the head, like weighing the head, which is really amazing because that's, where you hold your thoughts, right? Is within the head. Also, she states that she is cutting this plant. Now, I don't know if you've ever gardened or not, but when you plant seeds, there's a time when everything is coming up and you need to prune. You need to thin these things out. She's pruning the flower. So anytime you cut a flower, a decision is being made, right? Like you're either going to let this continue to grow and let it bloom and come to seed, and maybe some will come back and maybe some won't. But when you're gardening, you have to decide which ones are going to remain, which little seeds, which little plants that have come up and made their way up are going to stay and which are going to go. And in a way, that's a really good way of pointing out like this feeling of equality and what's right for the collective, or how are these seeds going to grow best? How are they going to bring a better harvest by thinning them out? Now, there was one time that in my life, I used to help run the gardening for the school, and I think it was like the kindergarten class or the first grade class, I cannot remember, but they did not want to thin out the plants because they just thought, no, how can we pull these little things out? We grew these. And so I did let like one little row remain unthinned, and they quickly saw how not thinning them out would affect their growth. And this card really does reflect on that whole idea. Now, this particular flower, let me see if I can, the name of the flower is called Justiça carnea, which is a plant from Brazil. And she states here that the flower is personified with a face and the closed eyes of a calm attitude. Another thing about this particular plant is that it needs pruning in order to be renewed and to last for years. So you don't have any choice. This plant would choke itself out if you didn't prune it out. So that is a form of like this idea of justice, where you really have to look at what you're going to cut out in order to find that balance, in order to find that equality and calmness, because too much is just too much, right? So anyhow, that was a long description, but that is the Justice card from the Jonasa Jaus. The next one is where I begin to really cheat, I think. This is the Death card from my beloved Herbcrafters Tarot. And I think you guys know, if you've been watching my channel, you'll know I am really into Mayan cosmology. I'm really into the celebration of Dia de los Muertos and honoring this beautiful celebration of honoring those who have passed and celebrating their life rather than being in mourning. So this card means so much to me because you have the marigolds, you have the candles, you have the skull, you have the butterflies, and the butterflies are drawn because of the sweet smell of the marigolds, and the light calls the spirits in on the altar. Here's the papel picado in the back. It's just a beautiful, beautiful representation of how death is not the end. Death is a doorway. It's another portal, so to speak. So here in the guidebook, it says, all things come to an end. Find closure so you may accept renewal. First, pay homage to what must die. It has given you life. The rich scent and vibrant color of the marigold is said to lead the souls of the beloved dead home, so we can celebrate them and the lives they lived. Honor your experiences as they pass. Like the delicate paper flags, life is fragile and fleeting. Delight in the beautiful moments as the bright marigold flowers will eventually wither and fade. Embrace this time of transition. A sacred contract is reaching completion. Let the petals fall. I love it. I love the Herbcrafters Tarot. I think everybody probably knows that at this point. And now the 10th card is from the Herbcrafters Tarot as well. So it's after this point that the cheating begins. This is the Hierophant, also from the Herbcrafters Tarot. And another card that I just absolutely love. And again, if you watch my channel in any in any way, you've probably heard me talk about cacao. Cacao is a very important plant medicine for me. And cacao ceremonies are just this beautiful way of coming into contact with yourself on a whole other level, a way of going within and getting in touch with everything, with all the matters of the heart. So in here we have the cacao and being served, and here is the little statue of Cacao. I'm going to read to you a little bit about this card. The secrets of the sacred are available to all. Learn them, teach them. Drinking pure cacao is an ancient practice that leads to greater perceptive awareness by opening the heart. Commercial chocolate is cacao stripped of its beneficial properties, cloaked in delicious yet harmful ingredients. Only true cacao can open the capillaries and increase blood flow. Spiritual teachings must speak authentically to reach the heart. Some things must be revealed slowly, as too much cacao can cause the pulse to quicken. Learning too much too fast can overwhelm. Have patience with this pace of the divine. Remain devoted to mystery, yet have respect for ceremony. I love that for the Hierophant because it is really a matter of learning, of going within, with taking the time to have that wisdom come to you in a matter of time that you can accept it, that you can work with it, that you can learn with it. You know, that's one of the things that I try to be very, very aware of when I am in any type of ritual or manifesting or anything that I'm doing where I'm asking to find abundance in something. I'm always asking for it in a manner in which I can digest what's going to come back to me, because if it comes too quick, if it grows too fast, I'm going to get burned out and I'm not going to properly learn what I need to learn or be able to cope with the amount of abundance that I receive, or I'm not going to be able to respond correctly to give back the way that I should. So this Hierophant is really, really special to me because, for one, it mentions cacao and the way of getting to that heart space and learning from that and being within that wisdom, that ancestral wisdom, where you're in a space where you can handle it and then teach from it as well. So very, very special. Okay, here come all my cheat cards. So I'm just going off the rings at this point. This is the World and this is the Ace of Wands. And these are both from the Stunning Tarot 4th edition. Absolutely, absolutely love this card right here, the World. And the reason that I love this is this person is in this fetal position. Now, I've mentioned this on one of my walkthroughs of the Stunning Tarot, is that when I saw this card, the first thing that came to me is that at the end of my yoga classes, I will have everybody, when they come out of Savasana, to curl up and then to land on their sides and just take a moment in gratitude, because this is at the point where you are at the completion of your practice. You have gone through this practice and hopefully you have felt something. Hopefully something has struck you within your body, within your mind, within your soul. Something has gone on within that practice where you can just take a moment and reflect upon that particular practice and just really find gratitude for it. So this card always reminds me of that concept when I have people just be on their sides for a moment and just find gratitude for being on their mat. Find gratitude for that practice. Find gratitude for your breath, for the cycle that you just completed, because it is in fact a cycle. This practice of yoga, the way that I go about it, is not an exercise type thing. It is a ritual within itself. So I just love this card. And then the Ace of Wands. This Ace of Wands, it's changed from a prior edition that I had, where you just saw the stump of the tree or the branch of the tree hitting the floor and it was really, really big. Here you see the person here holding it. But I love the idea of it anyway, because the Ace of Wands, I love this because it's like you're commanding. You are like, this is happening. I am getting what I need from this suit, from this passion, from this fire. I'm receiving this, I'm commanding it. So I love this card for that reason. So these are some more forever cards. And now for the last deck. And you know what? There's a lot of cards in here. And it's funny because I chose this one and I had forgotten that Nueva Luna Tarot also chose this particular card. But I'm going to go ahead and share with you this deck. Sorry, I didn't share it. The Story Medicine Tarot Animal Woman 2nd edition. I love this deck. I've had this deck for a while. Absolutely adore this deck. There is so many cards in here that I really was like, oh, that's forever card. That's forever card, because this deck means so much to me. It is a shamanic type of tarot deck. There is no guidebook. She has keywords or phrases within the deck, so you go within the meaning of the card, and then you know your regular meaning for that particular card, and then looking at her little phrase. But gosh, it's so powerful. It's so beautiful. So this is the Four of Swords, and it's funny because, like I said, I forgot that Nueva Luna Tarot had chosen this card, and she did. So this is the Four of Swords. I do not hurry my healing process. And I think that is so important because, like in grief, there is no time. You know, I remember being told, oh, in a year you'll be better. You know, a couple years, it'll take a little bit. No, my grief is still very much alive. It's still very much breathing. I have learned to walk with it, but it has a life of its own. It really does. I've learned to walk with it. I've learned to allow it to allow me to grow and to expand and to bring my life into a different perspective, because I never thought I would be doing what I'm doing now for a living as opposed to what I did before all of this happened. But there is no time. And it shouldn't be rushed. You shouldn't say, oh, in 6 weeks, in 3 weeks, in this and that. There is no time. You take your time, you do with it what you can on that particular day or that hour or that minute. Healing it's just open. You take your time with it. Rest and take the time that you need. And then the 10 of Wands, honor, rest. I love this card. This is such a beautiful card. So usually you see the 10 of Wands with this heavy load on this person's back, and they're still doing it. They're still going through the struggle. But in here, she's resting. She's resting. And it's important for you to honor that rest. It's important for you to recognize when the load has just been too much. And this right here, this represents the bulb of the seaweed, and it's comforting her. It's holding her. This is like a representation of that womb space, and it's just giving her exactly what she needs. She's resting in that seaweed as well. It's just supporting her. And then here we have Judgment, and a very different take on the Judgment card from the Jonasa Jaus, where this is the key word is grace. Like, have grace for yourself and for others. Just extend that idea of grace, and you will find justice in that in itself. Just really trying not to be tied up in these constructs and ideas, to really allow yourself that pearl of wisdom, of grace. And then here we have the High Priestess and listening. Oh my goodness, yes. And I love this idea that in this deck, it shows like the three a lot. It almost means to me like the Mother Maiden Crone type of idea, or maybe ancestors. I don't know, some days I read it differently, but I love the idea of listening. Isn't that gorgeous? The 9 of Wands. I am not alone, my ancestors carry me. Look at all the hands carrying her. Usually the 9 of Wands has a person resting, like trying to just get away, like that nightmare moment. But know that you are not alone, that you have support. And then this is the Fool. So even though I forgot to start it with the Fool, I'm ending it with the Fool. And this one is the portal, because really, once you take that time to just take a chance and go out and do something, start something, direct it differently, then you've stepped through that portal. You've opened the door. You have just created new spaces, new opportunities for yourself, new ways of abundance and love and pathways. So that's it, guys. That is my not so much 10 forever cards. Thank you, Nueva Luna. This was a lot of work, but well worth it. It was really enriching for me. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you later.